So I want to make sure we understand, again, what it's like to be an agile business. You want your business to be able to stick and move, right? Every time a punch comes, you want your business to be able to dodge it and come back strong and be ready to uppercut and move and be strong going forward. So it takes forethought, preparation, and the setting of goals to create that. And you've got to be able to say, all right, something is happening I was not prepared for. What's the next idea? How can we move forward? By doing this process on a regular basis and even being mindful, having a forethought or an agile mindset, this allows you to always be thinking about your ideas. So those of us who are like, oh, I always have these ideas, I'm inundated with ideas, I don't know what to do with them, write them down. They may not serve you today, but something may come down the pike and you'll go, you know what? I thought about something a couple of years ago that may work and help my business move forward. So don't discount the fact that you're one of those people whose ideas are always coming, and I don't know what to do with them. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do them all now. What it may be is that you're a person who is creating a plan B, C, D, and E for your business during times when you need those alternatives. So what I want to do now in the last, I'm going to probably try to go to 10:45, and then I'll take some questions if there are any. I want to go through what it's like, some of the steps to do this strategy setting for yourself. And of course, you're going to get these slides. These will go out in our newsletter, I believe. Thank you for correct. I just saw the chat where it was Turo for when I was talking about the rideshare. But you will get these slides. And so if you decide that you want to do this process on your own, you'll have the steps to do so. So let's start with step one. The first thing you have to do anytime you do any of these sort of processes is to look at where you are right now. Sometimes that's great. Sometimes it's not so great. But we call it benchmarking. And you do that at any point that you're trying to grow, because you don't know you don't know how to measure progress if you don't know where you started. So it may be a really sad picture that you're starting in, or an unhappy place, or you could be in a really great place. And in either case, look at where you are now and be honest about what your business is like. And maybe just write down a quick summary of where you are, what you've achieved to date, and maybe just talk about or write down some things about where you'd like to go and what you can envision for yourself or for your business. And then make a list of what you think the future will be like in 3 to 5 years in each of the following categories: social, technological, economical, ethical, political, legal, environmental. And sometimes the E's change depending on which industry you're in. But what I would suggest is either do it, on a whiteboard where you can really, stretch your ideas out, or give yourself pieces of paper for each category. That gives you the opportunity to really kind of let your mind wander. And I've been in these sessions where they've said, flying cars, and we've got houses made from all green materials, or, they really let their mind go. And you have to be willing to do that, because again, this is not an exact science. This is, what do we think based on what we see around us and happening now? What do we think might happen? If you're a business, you need to be thinking about, in terms of the political climate. If this happens, what might happen here? If the elections go X way, we know certain other things could potentially happen. What does that mean for your business? In some regard, that may mean additional regulation, more compliance hoops or hurdles to jump through. In others, it may mean the market opens up for you, or less taxes, or lots of things change depending on how the future changes. And so give yourself the ability or the freedom to really dream and think about what your business might be like, or what the world, not your business, just not just your business, but what might the world be like external to your business in these categories, and really allow yourself to think it through. Then step 3 is to take those lists, those 7 lists, and say, okay, what do I see as an opportunity for my business? And it may be something kind of weird right now, right? It may be weird to think, I'm going to figure out a way to get people to let strangers rent their cars, their luxury cars at that, right? That may sound crazy until people become dissatisfied with the status quo and they want to be able to use some other means to rent a car. And they don't, using Uber or Lyft is not practical. You need to rent. And I don't like what's already out there. There's a change that I can potentially, or there's an option I can potentially make. So the things that you may kind of roll your eyes or laugh at now could potentially be opportunities. And so think outside the box, right? Think big. What are the possible opportunities? How is your company uniquely positioned or equipped to take advantage of those opportunities? That's the next sheet of paper, right? So now we're moving into the SWOT analysis where we're saying our strength here is uniquely positioning us to take advantage of this opportunity. Then the next step, you are going to look at the threats to your business. Where are there weaknesses that make you vulnerable? And then are there strengths that you have that will help you to combat these threats? Where are you strong? Where if the market tanks, you're good. If a competitor comes on, a disruptor, you've got another option, or there's something that well, they can't get my market share because I do this, and I'm going to focus on shoring up this so that nobody can do what I do, right? So where are you strong that will help you to combat the strengths that could come onto the market? And then step 5, this is where we start to goal set. We're going to start making a list of the ways you'd like to succeed, giving your possible opportunities, and a short list of the ways that you might prepare or brace yourself for possible threats. Okay. So then we move into actually setting those goals. So in step 5, we've taken those opportunities and we say, okay, this is what we're good at. This is what we need to shore up. But what do I ultimately want? And I want to create a list. That's really kind of like my strategic vision for the next 3 to 5 years. It may not be my ultimate business vision, but it's really in the foreseeable future. This is what I think I want to achieve. Now we want to figure out, how do we get there, right? Because I told you your strategy is the rungs of the ladder that are going to help you reach that vision or that goal. So we have SMART goals, right? Those goals have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And I'm not going to get into that definition. That's a whole other talk. But there is a link. When you get the PDF of these slides, you'll be able to click on that link. And if you need help understanding what SMART goals are, it will help you. But you want to make sure that your goal is specific, that you can measure your progress, that it's attainable, that it's relevant and realistic, and that it is time-bound, that you're saying this year or in the next 6 months, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. That's really important, because if you don't limit yourself to a time, you'll just be wishing. You'll never have a deadline. So that time-bound is really, really important. So step 6A is, from the matches between what you do well and possible opportunities, set 2 SMART goals that will position you to take advantage of those opportunities in the next 2 or 3 years. That's it. What do I want to do? I want to do this. And how will I get there? What are the 2 bites from the elephant I can take in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next, 36 months to get there? This is what I'd like to do. If there are areas where growth is needed, set a couple of goals that will help you develop. So I know I want to get an app. So in the next 6 months, I need to identify and secure an app developer, or I need to bring someone on staff, or I need a new certification, or I need to find another warehouse. What are those goals? How can you develop in a way that will help you reach your goals? So now you're looking at that weakness and you're saying, I can shore that weakness up in order to reach or in order to take advantage of the opportunity that is in front of me. Hopefully that makes sense. Then in step B, we're doing the same thing essentially for the threats. For the matches between your weakness and your area of threat, you're going to set 2 or 3 SMART goals to help you prepare or protect your business. So if you look ahead and you say that there's a political threat to my business, what can I do? There's a legal threat to my business. What can I do? Right? Is there something you have to go back to your charter and do? Is there something that, policy or procedure or training that you have to do to prepare yourself for potential threats that could be coming? Set the SMART goal. In the next 24 months, I will achieve this sort of, I'll have this much in the bank as a safety net because there may be an economic downturn. Right? So you're setting these SMART goals that you can measure. At the end of that 24 months, you can look back and say, well, did I save the $5,000 that I said I was going to? Yes, no, maybe I'm on my way. Right? So they're measurable. And then, of course, like I said, if there are areas where growth is needed, you can set goals to help you ensure that you shore up or that you close the gap between the threat and your weakness. Because again, you don't want to get punched in the mouth, right? You don't want that threat to come along and sock you and catch you unaware and totally ruin your business. So just a few things to consider. As your strategy setting and planning and goal setting, you want to think about what happens. How can you be agile if things don't go as planned, which can always happen. None of us planned to still be in COVID. Some of us, we at the start of COVID, it was like, oh, we'll just kind of shutter things down for a couple of weeks. We'll be back at it. Here it is a year and change later, and we're still talking about the impacts in so many ways about this pandemic. So things won't go as planned. How will you handle that? Also understand that there will be times that you will fail. And you have to understand that to succeed in some areas, you have to allow yourself to fail in others. There will be times when you have to let something go so that you can attend to the thing that will thrive. Sometimes that hurts. Footnote, sometimes that hurts, but it is necessary if your business is going to survive. So understand that failure is not always a bad thing. It's a part of business. It's a learning process. If you incorporate that into your business model as a learning process, rather than taking it personal and calling yourself a failure, you will be able to abandon things that don't work and bring on things that do. Okay. And always be on the lookout for potential new threats and opportunities because they're always arising. And sometimes they come out of the strangest of places. So teach yourself, teach your team to always be on the lookout for new things that you can do or better ways to do the things you're already doing. Okay. So that's where we are with that.